Okay. Okay. So good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Bimbola Akinoye, for those that do not know me. And I am the founder of the Canada Plug. Canada Plug is shipping, logistics, consulting business. We do ship from Nigeria to Canada every Friday and um, Canada to Nigeria every Friday as well. So in case you're looking for our services, you can find us online, www.canadaplug.com. I'd just like to ask everyone to please mute if you are not speaking. If you have a question, you can use the chat box to ask your question. Um, yeah, I guess that's what our session today would be. We do have some questions already because quite a number of people registered, and in the registration, we did ask for questions. But in case your questions are not answered during the session today, I'm going to put a link in the chat. This is the link to the meeting, sorry. You can ask your questions. We can put in your information there and we can follow up with you after now. So in case you want to speak to DG after, or you need information or more information based on what was shared today, you're free to fill that out and reach out back to you. So thank you so very much, everyone, again, for those that are just joining. And I wanted to say a big thank you to DG as well for joining us and, hosting this live session for free. Because I know that, of course, if you are talking to him on a normal day, you have to pay for consulting and things like that. So I'll just pass it on to DG to introduce himself and then we get the session started. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bimbola. I hope everyone can hear me right. So, can everyone hear me? Okay, good, good. So, thank you. Really, I really appreciate the time and few minutes that I want to spend talking about taxes in Canada. And just to introduce myself, and I think, can I share my screen now? Bimbola, yeah. Do I have the permission to share my screen? I think I should. Let's see. Okay.
Now it's all done.
Yes. Okay. So thank you, everyone. My name is Digby, and as a lot of people know me, and for those people that don't know me, like a finance professional, spent a couple of years working as a finance professional across different industries and across about 4 different jurisdictions. Back from my home country, Nigeria, in the UK, I spent a year in the UK. I worked with a company in the US, and now in Canada. Um, So, as a finance professional, I've done oral financial reporting, financial management operations, taxes, financial plan analysis, investment space, which is the fund administrative part. And I've spent a couple of years also helping helping people resolve their tax issues as well. And that is what I love doing. That is what I want to do, and that is what I'll continue to do. That's just a little bit about me. And I know something really that resonates in my mind is when I came to Canada a couple of about 5 years ago, like um there's something like we didn't take note of back in Nigeria, like taxes like that. When I was in the UK, then I was like, okay, it's started resonating in me. And at the same time, I now discovered that I don't really have a say in it because my employer, the government, they're going to take care of it. And at the end of the year, like probably somewhere around September, October, you get a tax refund because it's not a self-assessment system. But when I came to Canada, then it really showed in me that, wow, this is definitely something big because this is a self-assessment system. And the reason why it actually resonated with me very well was because when I came to Canada, like I came as a student, I went to University of New Brunswick, I did my MBA there. And when I paid my school fees, people say, oh, you're going to get your refund back. Oh my God, don't worry, your school fees is fine. Then that was when I said, okay, wait a minute. Is government actually going to pay me my school fees back? Like I paid like $9,000 that semester. And I said, okay. something that is going to be very, very interesting. But I took a step backward. I said, come on, the taxing you should really know better. And I said, no, government cannot be so generous like that to pay back the school fees. And this is one of the tax myths that people really, really are faced with whenever they come to Canada for the first time, especially students, and think that, oh, pay school fees, I'm going to recover it back. Then I said, okay, I did my research. I said, no, government is actually not, is not going to pay you that. That's where we're going to start talking about one of the tax myths in Canada that people think about, but actually it's not the case or totally not the case. For, for student paying school fees like that, and you see, I paid my $9,000 for the first semester. I filed my tax last year. I can tell you, you're not going to get your $9,000 back. It's a non-refundable tax credit. It's only 15% of it you're going to get back. However, the 15% that you're going to get back is not actually coming to you in cash as a refund. That's why they call it non-refundable tax credit. Student, please take note of that. Or people that just finished studying, take note of that. It's a non-refundable. And I always tell people as it is that come, if you are not going to pay tax or you see that you didn't work during that year when you're in school, do not utilize that credits. Utilize it when you start earning income that you're supposed to pay tax. Yeah. And again, pay particular attention to it to see that, oh, after filing your taxes, you can see that, oh, there will always be a portion, a statement by CRA telling you the amount you have that is unutilized. So please, students, newcomers that are studying, or people that just finished school, take note of that. You have to also take track of that because this is very critical in managing your taxes going forward and trying to um, maximize the tax benefits from the government. So I don't want to say, oh, talk about, oh, tax refund, filing taxes, I have to get a refund. To think of it, for me, I'll prefer to earn $20 million, net taxable income. I pay government 5 million, 10 million, I'll be fine. Than trying to earn like $50,000 and looking for a refund, additional refund. Government is not so generous like that. Oh, because they're not generous in the sense that you have somebody that needs to pay something. Refunds mostly it's comprises so many things, so many factors determines your refund. And I've seen a lot of people that says, "Oh, my friend actually got a refund, filed his tax, he got a free refund of $5,000. This one got a refund of $7,000. But for me, I got a refund of 1,000. Oh, my tax consultant didn't do it well. Or my tax practitioner or the person I employed didn't do it well." And they say that's right, that's correct. But the thing is, just ensure that all the necessary information you're supposed to supply are being supplied. So many things will determine your friend getting a refund and you not getting a refund or getting a lower refund or higher refund. One, the question is, do you guys earn the same income? Do you guys have the same family structure? Your friend might be incurring so many expenses, childcare expenses, all those things are deductible. Do you have that same expenses? Do you guys have the same uh, position or situation in the last tax year? All those things really play a vital role in determining the amount of refund you get or if you're going to get a refund at all. That's one thing. But one thing is very critical. When your taxes are filed, please take that step to go through all those things and ensure that all the information or your situation in that year have been really captured. And try as much as possible, take a step backward and see if there are differences between the previous tax year and the current tax year that you just filed and see if there are any abnormalities happening there. Yeah, because that again takes me to another tax myth that I noticed in Canada. Like, oh, people file their taxes. There was a mistake. The next thing is, okay, this year, let me just correct it. Let me go ahead and do the right thing. Oh, yeah, no. You can go back and refile your tax. Definitely, if you see that there's a mistake. People don't know that they can refile their tax. I've filed, I've done a refile a couple of weeks ago for a lot of people. So you can actually go back and do your refile. The next one is like filing taxes isn't necessary if you don't owe money. I mean, honestly, that is totally wrong. You need to file your tax even if you don't owe any money because we all know CRA, I can say, in my opinion, is the most significant area of government in this country. Why? Because one, they determine the benefits, the actually drive the benefit out what you pay or what they pay you. And all these things comes with records. All these things comes with the information data they have. They know people that have been in this country, that are resident, that are paying resident of this country. So filing your tax only give them the opportunity to update your records, give them the opportunity to have your record, give them the opportunity to see benefits you are actually entitled or eligible to claim. All those are the things, these are the things that help CRA gather those information. Definitely, filing your taxes is very important, even if you don't owe anything. I've seen questions a lot from people talking about side hustles, side businesses. Yes. Um, my income from side hustle, does it need to be reported? Oh, yes. We don't want to we don't want to commit tax evasion. That's one thing very important. I can tell you, this alone can cost you as high as $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 as you know, unli- unlimited amounts of penalties and interest. That's all right. You might have done it and the charge penalty. Maybe for the first time passing, probably you can just appeal again, but it's not guaranteed that they will even reduce the penalty. That's one thing. But if oh, you've not done it before, it was a mistake, it was an oversight, we have all those excuses that we can give here. But CRA has the subjectivity to determine if they want to reduce anything and any amount they want to reduce. That's one thing we should know. So please, side also, side business, please always report it. Yeah. And I think I saw a question where they talk about, oh, cash, do I have to pay taxes? Oh, yes, you need to pay tax because government did not tell you this particular method of payment to be taxed. No, they said, I'm going to tax you on your income. They don't care what form of payment, but your income. Keep note of that. Keep note of that. So if you receive cash for business transactions that you've done, it's your responsibility to ensure this is declared and captured. Failure to do that can result in penalties, fines, interest coming from the government. So take note of that. Keep track of your cash transactions. The same way you have an eligible expenses that you pay cash, even though it's not going through the bank system payment, when you pay cash, your receipts, those eligible expenses can also be used to reduce the taxable income. So that's the same way if you earn cash income, you should declare it. I hope that answers the question someone put down when I saw it yesterday. Another thing I noticed is people always ask, oh, business expenses. Can I deduct 100% of my business expenses? That's a good question. And that's something a lot of people might not really understand that they need to understand now. And it's so simple and straightforward. Not your 100% business expenses can be deducted. Let me give you an illustration. You earn 50,000 income and you incurred an expense of 40,000. You have a $10,000 taxable income. I said, oh, I'm happy. Yes. Government is not only going to collect a portion from the $10,000. Oh, that is an accounting income, please. Now let's go back to how tax sees it. Let me put another scenario. Let's say out of that $40,000 expenses, $30,000 of it relates to entertainment, feeding, dining. So government of Canada, CRA only allows 50% of that cost. So definitely, the 30,000 expenses for feeding entertainment, only 15,000 of it is allowed. 15,000 of it is deductible. So which means you're thinking that government is only going to charge you on 10,000. No, government is going to charge you on $25,000. So not all business expenses are tax deductible. Take note of that. That is critical to understand and know. I've seen a lot of things about tax audits, and I can tell you we're being audited in one way or the other. Even for people that are lucky not to be audited, fine, good. That doesn't mean that they cannot audit you. I've been audited several times. So tax audits are random. Yes. Oh, you say, oh, we pay 3 million in Canada. Oh, maybe people that are going to report their tax are going to find their tax like about 20 million. Okay. The chances of them picking me is just 1/20 million. Oh, they are not going to get to me. Oh, come on, let's see it. It's random, I agree. But there, there could be some activities that would trigger tax audits. And like I give you examples straight. For example, if you look at the system might look at the fact that, oh, okay, last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, your income has been like your taxable income has been like 40,000, 30,000. Fine. Okay. And this way, just cover that, oh, you bought properties or you have your own home, first time home buyer. Oh, then they have to give you $10,000 um non-refundable credits. Government might just say, oh, just give me evidence that you actually purchased this property and you actually entitled to this. That's an audit just to check those things. And sometimes government might just look, Siri might just look at, I mean, like, okay, what are your history? What are the things? Oh, what are the abnormalities they notice from your tax returns and all those things? All those things could trigger it. I didn't say it's going to trigger it, but it could trigger those things. So that's audit random, fine. And more specifically, again, I've noticed something of recent. I don't know if people can recall last year, like around first quarter of last year, it, um, one tax consultant was actually fined in prison for donation fraud of about 34, $38 million thereabouts. Because this person have been creating fake donation scams. And donation has a huge impact in your tax filing activities, which can create a non-refundable tax credits. That could also trigger kind of audit because government might just say that, okay, right, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, your donation is like around the range of $1,000, $2,000. And this year, just skyrocketed to like $20,000. I don't know what that might create for it audit. Maybe the government might have a threshold that they are looking at because this donation charity thing now, it could be a very high risk to them. And they say, okay, we might want to like start taking a look at that. People that claim like donation and this is, let us audit them and see and confirm the validity of all those things, numbers they are claiming. So please take note of all these things. Get your evidence, get your receipts from the registered place so that you can at least have document to substantiate all these things. There's another one they talk about, oh, spouse income, does it affect my taxes? And the answer is yes, absolutely yes. And I've seen questions about people telling me, oh, will I fight jointly? Should I fight separately? Okay, we're still coming back to that because it's good.
What is inside of your? Not
Sorry.
her, because that's too fucking hot to be wearing out here right now.
So,
What's in the pot? There are pockets in there.
can you please mute yourself? So, but how spouse income affects your taxes? Yeah, it does because by the time you start filling the tax form that you want to fill your tax, yeah, they will definitely ask you relationship status, married, single. Once you click married, definitely CRO wants to know the details of your spouse. You have to put the name there, social insurance number, and they will go further and ask you about the income of your spouse. Definitely, it's affected because Canada sees it as the family income, not individual income. Definitely. So, and look at it this way: a family income of 50,000 compared to a family income of 200,000, definitely the benefits, what they're able to, or anything, tax credit that is coming in, it's good. It's going to be different from each other. So your spouse income actually affects your taxes. And most of the time, I tell people that okay, if you're filing your taxes, well, whatever I say, oh, sorry, I forgot to put a disclaimer there. It's not a tax advice, please. It's just in my opinion. But if you want to seek tax advice, please meet your consultants. So I always say, as part of tax strategy to reduce your tax or maximize your benefit, is try as much as possible to file jointly because there's huge tax benefits doing that. And let's move to the next one. Can I avoid taxes by working abroad? Hmm, that's a good question. I can tell you, the government has said, I'm going to tax you on worldwide income. In respect, even if you work in Nigeria, you work in the UK, you work in the US, as long as you're tax resident of Canada, Canada is going to charge a tax on a worldwide income. That is what it said. Don't worry about the currency. Canada, CRA has the exchange rate for all the currencies that you might think of. So don't worry, just relax. There's no problem about that. The currency is the exchange rate is there. So you're going to get the another equivalence of that amount you earn from other countries. But definitely Canada is going to tax. And I know I've seen questions about, oh, foreign income, how does it impact my tax? Yes, I know there are tax treaties between Canada and other countries, which is, yes, legit of their tax treaty. But one thing is, we also try, as taxpayers, I don't want to pay double tax. I don't want to pay tax in the US and at the same time come back to Canada and pay the same tax. So basically, in a simple analogy, it's just like Canada ensuring that, okay, have you paid sufficient tax in that country? If you pay sufficient tax, okay, come back here. We might not tax you. And even if you're going to tax you, maybe it's going to be very low. So those are the things they look at very well. So and let us also add some of the tax myth that I noticed about, people have asked me questions about TFSC, oh, RRSP, FHSC, how does it really impact my tax? So these things will definitely reduce my tax. Yeah, it would, but let's note this clearly. Why RRSP, FHSC creates a tax deduction in, to arrive at a taxable income. That is when you earn $100,000, you contributed 20,000 to your RRSP, which is the most popular. The taxable income, all things being equal, is 80,000. But for TFSC doesn't even give you tax deduction. That's one thing you know because this is it. You earn $100,000, you contributed $20,000 that is within your limits. I mean, if and you contributed it, the government will still tax you on $100,000. However, where the benefit comes in is, oh, when you earn income from a TFSA account, that income is tax-free. It's not deductible. And don't forget, from my previous conversation, I said worldwide income or income from all sources. For TFSA itself, it's not, it's tax-free. So the government is encouraging you to invest, save, and income from it that is tax-free. But unlike the RRSP, when you earn income from RRSP, it's going to be taxed. That's why it's a registered retirement. They said, no, the purpose is not for you to use the income now. The purpose is for you to use the income when you retire, which is when you fall into a lower tax bracket in future or when you're not earning as much as you're earning now. So that will even reduce your tax into a lower tax bracket. So these are the kind of things we should know. But if you need more advice, more questions about CFSC, RSA, please consult your tax advisor. Those guys are very, very crucial in helping you plan towards retirement. So I think there are a lot of other tax methods that we see, but if you have questions, honestly, get in touch and we can go about it. We can discuss it. So the next section is looking at when.
Sorry. Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who is joining us. I know some people joined us later. If you have a question, please feel free to use the chat box to write out your question. We also have a form there in case you want to maybe talk to Deji later or ask more questions that we might not be able to address because the session ends at 10:45. But if you have any question, please feel free to put it in the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you, Abimala. So now that's a very interesting area. They say when to engage a tax consultant. I've seen that question, I've seen that conversations so many places, I get the tax system is something you can do it yourself very well. Simple. It's very simple. We have so many softwares you can use. Double tax, you go to HR, you go to Web Simple. These guys have created a software that is very easy to use. So everybody can do his own. That's one thing we should know. And you have questions that it's going to prompt up and just answer the question correctly. It's very easy. But let's go to the main thing. When do I actually need a tax consultant? Well, in my opinion, and what I see so far, when you have a side also, you are a self-employed individual, maybe you have it added to your income, your employment income, sometimes it's important for you to engage a tax consultant or a professional. Why? Because one, you want to ensure you know claim all the deductions that you're supposed to deduct. I can tell you, I'll be happy. I'm happy to pay a percentage of $20 million net income I've made without any issue. But but on my taxable income. But when my taxable income would have been 20 million, but I'm now saying I'm paying on 30 million, then there is an issue. Because probably maybe I've not taken advantage of all the deductions I'm supposed to take advantage of. And another thing is we have different businesses and we can just think, oh, all these expenses should go, all these expenses should go. No, we need to look at it differently to see what kind of business are you into? What kind of expenses are we seeing that you should take and compare to another person that's on another line of business? So those are the things you might need to like engage people with. That, oh, you are not sure. You've read it. And there are links, salary website links for you to go through as well. So I think in that situation, you might want to consult a tax consultant. Second thing I notice again is another thing when you still consult a tax consultant is when you are planning for retirement, because everybody wants to retire early. I definitely want to retire. You want to be in Bahamas enjoying your retirement money during winter period and come back during summer. Yeah, that's fine. But it starts now. Yeah, what are these things? You need to understand the tax strategy to utilize. To pay tax low, to pay low tax now, pay it later. But at the same time, you also need a financial advisor to also help you and assist you in all these things. And the good thing is government has brought up a lot of policies, a lot of programs that will assist you in planning early for your retirement, IRS, PFHSC, and all those kind of stuff, TFSC, and all those things. Please, you might need to consult a tax consultant to even understand all these things. It's good for you to know the changes that are happening in the Canadian tax system. Question is, should I know everything? Yeah, a lot of things coming up. About 3 days ago, they also brought another change about short-term rental businesses. So please know it, understand the starting file this year. Then going forward, you get to understand all of that things that are happening, things that are happening, and how it affects your income and how you can plan ahead of time. Another thing is the people that have rental properties, involved in selling of properties. Yeah, you want to understand these things. Basically, you have to like engage the consultant to say, okay, what are the expenses we can think of? What are the changes coming up? As I said, there was a change in the short term um, renter that came up about 3 or 4 days ago from the CRA saying that before you can claim expenses, these are the things you need to consider. Do you have your permit? Do you have a license? Please, if you have a short-term rental properties, please check your CRA website, check your provincial regulation if there's a license needed, because if it impact the expenses you will claim. Your CRA is saying that if you are not licensed, don't claim those expenses. So please go through it. If you have questions, concerns, please feel free to get in touch. Another thing is changing family structure. Family structure is very critical because family structure, I understand. There could be some trying moments where people are involved in divorce or separation or all those things. We need to understand the kind of benefit and how this impacts the taxes. And it might be necessary and important for you to consult a tax consultant for all these things. And another thing I do notice is like time, definitely. If you don't have the time and you rather spend the time in doing other things, in generating more income, yeah, you're free. It's your choice. But other than this, if your tax situation is very simple, you have one employment income or you don't have previous situation in the last tax year, you can easily go to the Intuit or any of those tax allowed tax application and file your taxes. And if you want to file your tax and you don't know the application you're going to use, please you can just Google tech CRA website. CRA website can give you the allowable tax applications that are allowed to transmit your tax document to them. So we can go through. I think I've touched based on those. And there are other reasons why you might need tax consultant. Probably maybe there's a audit going on. Wow, you got a tax email from the government asking for a bunch of things, and you're trying to like, oh, like the one I mentioned earlier, trying to say, oh, there's a penalty in you. So you might want to, so let me check on the tax consultant or someone to see and get his or her own view. But at the same time, feel free to call CRA government. I mean, the line is allowed. Free for them, discuss with them. You can do it yourself as well. So, any questions so far?
Okay, I can moderate with giving some of the questions that we've received so far. Somebody asked if you have a registered business, can you file some of your personal expenses under your business for tax returns?
It's clear. You said personal expenses. And don't forget, registered business, incorporated, there are different types of businesses, incorporated, sole proprietorship. So if you have an incorporated business, as you rule by the law will tell you, the lawyers will tell you, the incorporated entity is different from the personal person, from the person. So if you have your own personal business expenses, you are not allowed to put it under business expense. So this is something that you can put under business expense. For example, you rented an apartment. This is your apartment address is your business address. And you actually still, definitely when you pay rent, it's personal. But because you have your rented apartment and you have a portion of it like, oh, this is my workstation for my business, I DG Incorporated Inc. That's fine. The government, CRA allows me to claim the portion of that space towards my business. I paid a rent of $1,000. Let's, for argument's sake, 25% of its space is for my business. Yes, I can claim 25% of that $1,000 to reduce my business expense, but not everything. So there are a lot of expenses listed that you can reassess and look at. I just noticed people do a lot of things. All the rental amount fee they pay, they just put it as business. Oh, it's wrong. It is actually wrong. Let's call it spade a spade.
All right. Thank you, Deji. I have another question here. Does filing as a family affect your tax bracket?
Yes, it does, because I think I did mention something about it earlier that CRA looks at it as a family income. So that is why the benefits that a family would receive from government, and that family earns like $50,000, is different from the other family that earns $300,000. So that is very critical and that's very important. And when you file as a family, when you're filing your taxes, mostly, and if you look at the income level and their expenses, the deductible expenses, you can easily move the expenses. Oh, my spouse actually earns the lower income. Okay, I'm earning the higher income. Okay, this childcare expenses, it's not okay for me to put it under my spouse. I'd rather put it under myself so that I can lower my taxable income. Those things are actually allowed because your spouse already has a lower income, so it's going to fall under the lower tax brackets. So these are the things we also you have to consider as well. And then
Okay, thank you so much. The other question here is, what if you can't find the receipts for a startup side hustle you did and collected cash for? What else can be used to file taxes for that? Please answer this question for when the business isn't registered yet and if it is registered. Thank you.
okay, I can see. I think there are two questions into that one. Number one, let me answer the later part. When the business is not, and I will tweak the question a little bit. When the business is not registered and you incur expenses towards registering that business, yeah, the government even understand that not until when you register the business that you start incurring expenses. You might have started incurring expenses for the past 1 month, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, which is allowed. Those expenses are allowed. Government did not give us a particular timeline to follow, like how far back you can look at your expenses, but it should be reasonable and it should be reasonably incurred and for the business. So before registering your business, if you incur expenses 1 month, 2 months before, and it's the business related to the expense, is an expense related to the business, you can deduct it. But the other question is when you don't have your receipt and it's a cash transaction. So the question I will throw back to that person is when you are audited, what is support you can give? That's not it. What can you use to substantiate that expenses? Or will I just tell the government, oh, no, I incurred it. I don't have the receipt. I don't have it. You can't have anything to trace. I'm so sorry. So that is how I can answer. That's the best way I can answer that particular first question. So that's why it's always advisable, try as much as possible to keep your receipts, keep your expenses, track everything. And I mean, that's this is an app I use to stay organized. It helps you to keep track of your expenses for businesses. You can also download your expense report that reduces your tax filing fee. These are the things you use to like keep track of your expenses. If you lose your receipt, this is going to save your receipt for you. And there are other similar apps that can do that.
All right. So somebody asked, please, can I file tax returns for my child's college fees?
So there is you can transfer those things. Those are the things you can transfer. If, for example, you pay school fees for someone, definitely there's a tuition credit. And if you think, oh, okay, I can use this tuition credits to reduce my taxes, yes. But it must be an eligible tuition credit that you need. And there is a form in from CRA website that you can use to do all those things. But if you need further clarification about it, then please feel free to contact me.
All right. So the other question here is thanks for the opportunity. This is my first filing. Somebody told me that I have to update my address on my SIN as it carries the first accommodation I lived in when I first got into Canada. How does this affect my taxes since it's the same location I still live?
Sorry, if I can get that question clearly, it's like dating address when filing your taxes, right? I mean, we all know address is very important because for your first time, when you're filing tax for the first time, a lot of people might not remember that they need to open a salary account. And even if they open a salary account, sometimes again, they might forget that they can easily add their bank details into the salary account because the government will even prefer, oh, add your bank details there. I don't need to even mail you any check. But if you don't do all those things, they need to mail you your check. And again, where you stay even is very critical, important in your in your taxes because one, they want to understand, oh, are you entitled to this particular benefit, like the Ontario Children benefit or all other benefit that comes with your location and the type of taxes you pay. And don't forget, you are taxed in two different ways. You have the provincial tax, you have the federal tax. Provincial tax is also as important as federal tax. And your location also determines the tax you pay, the benefits you get, and all those things are very critical.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the other question would be okay, so we did have some questions during the registration. Maybe we should look at one or two of those. Or
Okay.
I'm just trying to pull that up. If anyone has any question you want to ask, you can raise your hand and then I'll unmute you, or you can use the chat box as well.
And again, I've actually pulled up some questions from the during registration. So I think for some I've gone through them when discussing. I know someone asking me how to file as a newcomer and the process to do it yourself. You know, there are so many softwares I've mentioned. Some people is asking again, advice on filing both business and personal tax. So personal tax is different from business tax. But business tax, if it's a sole proprietorship or a self-employed business, it's going to be filed alongside with a personal. But for incorporated entities, it's going to be filed separately. Um, Filing as an independent contractor, that is also critical. That's a good question. Yes. Question is how did you perform the service and what is the main method of income that you got? Did you invoice? Do you have an incorporated entity or is it, are you giving a T4A? We need to consider that. I think I've talked about few common mistakes when filing taxes. Uh, Filing jointly, I've mentioned filing jointly. Tips to maximize your deduction and tax credit. I had a session some weeks ago about deductions and credit. These are very important. Understand the deductions that will reduce your tax. TFSA will not reduce your taxable income, only RRSP, FHSA. Understand the credit that would impact your tax. Is it a refundable credit or a non-refundable credit? Those are the things we need to understand as well. So these will help us. I think I've talked a little bit about RRSP and TFSA tips to reduce your tax. And I see questions about small business tax filing, business deductions, corporate tax, and process and who to contact. I think I've mentioned that in the course of the conversation as well. Cash job tax filing, I think I've also mentioned that cash, irrespective of the means of payments, declare your income. Declare your income. I won't say more than that. Staying organized, you have an app that can help you stay organized in terms of expenses. Not only does it help you keep your support document, you can generate expense report and save the time, stress of compiling expenses you incurred in January and February, and you don't know when you have for taxes, for tax audits. Do you have documents to substantiate? Um, Oh, yes, I have a very quick question. How to maximize your tax refund when you are working from home? Yes, definitely. Your employer is meant to give you a T2200 form, which shows the declaration of condition of employment. That form is very critical. Sign the form. It must be signed. Government did not say to pass it to them. Just hold on to it because when they ask, that's the form that shows that, oh, you are allowed to work at least 60% of the time working from home. Worldwide income, I've talked about worldwide income. When to involve a tax professional, we've talked about that. Sole proprietorship versus limited partnership. I think we can't really say a lot. We can say a lot, but this time is very short to say that. Sole proprietorship is going to impact your personal income, but limited liability company, incorporated entity, it's not. That has another tax bracket. So there are a lot to discuss about that. The person that asked that question can easily just send me an email and we can go into details discussing that. Um, so I can't file for previous years. No, you can file for previous years and you can even refile. I have a question about dividend versus salary for an owner corporation. I think more we can discuss that. The person that asked that question can contact me later. We can discuss about. And next week, I think there should be there is going to be a blog about dividend and salary, and you can see which one that is more beneficial. And I know a lot of questions from newcomers asking what are the things I need to file your taxes. Please go to the site, look at the appropriate software you can use, gather your documents, have your SIN number, have your T4, T4A, have your T3, T5 form for students, have your T2202, which is the tuition certificate that is going to be given by your school. Check your school student portal. You should be able to see that. Look at your expenses that you have. Look at your donation expenses. Look at your all other eligible expenses. And more importantly, look at your situation this particular period and say, okay, this is my situation that involves financial transaction. How does it impact my tax? Yes, good. You can compare with another person that is doing it, but that has a lot of refunds. But I'm sure that person will not give you all the details about him or herself to you. So please don't compare the refund. But one thing is important. Ensure all the documents, all your situations have been submitted to the tax practitioner if you have a complex situation. Okay. I think I've run through some of the questions. Abby, I don't know if you have some questions there that I've not really answered, but for the interest of time, let me know.
Yes, sure. Thank you so much, Deji, again. So I saw somebody's hand up. I can't find them anymore. If you have a question, please raise your hand and I'll be happy to grant you access. I think one of the questions I can see from the back end that you haven't spoken about will be timelines. So a lot of us are new in Canada. When is tax season? Like when is tax due? You're supposed to file your taxes between now and when?
Okay, so for the taxes, yeah, it has already started. Start compiling your stuff for personal income tax. The portal is going to be open the final week of February, and you have up to 30th April to file your tax. But for self-employed people, they have up to June to file their tax. And if that date is on a weekend, the next working day will be when you can file your tax. However, for self-employed, please, even if you have the opportunity to file your tax in June, or you have April 30th to pay your tax you're owing. Any amount that is unpaid, there will be interest on it. So take note of that. And for a business person that have incorporated entity, please, you can file your tax anytime during the year. However, for incorporated entities, if you're making profits, you have to file your tax within 3 months after your year end. Or if it's going to be a loss, you have 6 months after your year end. Take note of that as well. And that is filed throughout the year. That's the incorporated entities.
All right, thank you. Okay, so somebody said, how do I get started in filing my taxes? Like, what would be the first process? I'm a newcomer.
So you have your same, you have everything. If you understand the tax system, fine. If not, try and seek as maybe you can go to the YMCA to the offer free tax clinic, speak with them because you have this free, you have simple situation. It's not complex. And I also do that a lot for a student, for newcomers as well, students that they earn income or low income during the year as first time filers. There's a particular period I always file for them for free, explain some things to them. But one thing is, don't think that you can understand everything about the tax system. But the good thing is, when you understand that situation, look at these things and going forward, try and pay attention to the filing information. Try to be inquisitive to ask questions about differences.
All right, thank you. The other question here is insurance expenses, are they covered in filing my taxes?
So the question is, what type of insurance expenses and what type of business are you doing? Are you just like you just implement income, you're giving your T4? Is that what you have? If you have that, I don't think you can put insurance expenses there because you just have a T4. Yeah. But however, if you're working from home and you have your T2200, it's been signed, definitely, is it home insurance? Just like um allocate a portion that is allowed. If you have you are self-employed or you have businesses, you include insurance that is allowed. Um, you just have to look at it as your particular situation. You can't just generalize that is this or it's not this. You need to understand it. Sometimes that's why I say you might need to like consult with someone or ask someone.
Okay. So somebody asks, as a student, is rent part of our expenses? Is rent part of our expenses to upload?
So rent expenses as a student, it's not going to impact your tax because even if I'm not a student and I'm working, I have my T4A, I go to the office 4 times a week or 5 days a week. Basically, no. I can only interest expense is going to be when I have a side also, side business, self-employed, and I know that okay, I need the space, a tax, a portion of the space. Or if other than that, but government wants to know that you live where you live, you speak to someone, to a landlord, and they want to know that okay, they want to determine the benefits you will also get in terms of your location, right, which I also talked about during the earlier part of the conversation, that where you stay is important for them to understand and see the kind of benefit you get, if it's Ontario Children benefit, as the case may be.
All right, thank you so much. So somebody asked, I think one of the most popular questions would be, how do I reduce my um, how do I increase my tax returns and get the most, maximizing the benefits?
It's a lot. We can spend your 2 hours. We can spend 2, 3 hours discussing this. But first, understand a little bit of the tax system. Understand your situation. We need to understand because you can't just manufacture a situation as well. You didn't buy home and you think you want to get home buyer's credit. It's a no. You did not donate anything and you are looking for a donation credit. It's a no. So understand your situation. You didn't pay school fees and you're expecting a tuition credit. It's a no. Please understand those credits. Those things are very important based on it. If you incur any disability expenses or medical expenses, if you incur medical expenses, understand the calculation as well. And again, in terms of deduction, you will rather pay tax on $50,000 than I pay tax on 100,000. So what are the deductions? For example, let's assume you earn $20,000 and I'm still creating it and you end up like paying, you have like $25,000, like RRSP. It is going to give you a reduction. That's going to give you a benefit of tax deduction because you already have a refund coming to your pocket. CPP, understand CPP as well. People work 4, 5 jobs together, and at the same probably they didn't tell them that they are working in different areas. Definitely, they will have deducted CPP from all those when they are getting their income. It shows that they will have overpaid in their sick pay. Those things will result in a refundable tax credit to your pocket. Also understand that the new CPP, the second CPP that came into effect in 2024 as well. You will have deducted that again from your income before they paid you. So all those things I can create more refund. But honestly, your situation will determine the kind of refund or credit you will get. But it can already be manufactured. So these are ways you can really um, maximize your benefits. And if you think there's an error in your tax last year, you can refile again. You can get it refiled.
All right. Thank you so much to Deji, and thank you to everyone who has stayed with us to the end of the session. Does anybody have any questions? We can take one or two more questions,
I
probably end
do.
off
Yeah,
at.
I do actually.
Okay, please go
Okay.
ahead.
So I do hire Deji. So I do have a financial background and accounting basics. So I really feel confident filing my taxes. But however, that's going to be the first time that I file it as salary and also sole proprietor. So, I know what is the T4, the T1, what you can, I use QuickBooks, so my bookkeeping is already done. However, how to make sure I apply all of the tax credits and reductions? And what do you think about using ChatGPT, knowing that I do have a financial knowledge?
Okay. Thank you very much, Alexa, for that question. And honestly, it's good having that conversation. Yes. With this financial knowledge, it's going to help a lot. There are tools there. There are questions in that tools. There are so recognized tools by CRA to use. When filing those things, those questions will pop up. And even if you don't see those questions popping up, yeah, we can go to ChatGPT, but I would really advise people that no, let's even go to CRA website. That is the most reliable one that I can also use very well. Go to CRA website and just type in the credits that you are like, credits deductions. You will see the list of them. There are lots, and someone cannot be an expert reading everything. Let's look at the ones that you think really impacts your situation last year and like, okay, then go back to your software that you're using, the Intuit and everything, and say, okay, where's the question? Let me respond to this question. Even because these softwares also, they have those steps, those questions that they will be asking you. The most important thing is responding to those questions very well, and the calculation will be done like that because it's itself. It's not something someone can use Excel and say, "Well, I want to do." Yeah, you can't do that. I've a lot of questions about TD1. People working in Canada for the first time, they gave them the TD1 form for them to fill. They say, oh, Deji, how am I going to do these things? There are a lot of questions. Yeah. Most importantly, the one that is very, very important is for me, to me, I would say, oh, the first question. Just put in the first question. The other questions there, if you try as much as possible to put the information, you are making tax more complex. And, for me, I, I work in a finance operational person and I know whenever we got the new stuff and everything, I feel all those things. And if I see someone that has that format that's filled everything, I say, oh my goodness, this is what? Because the reason is that even at the end of the year, you are going to do the appropriate thing because you are going to all those informations with all those questions will be asked again. So because part of the question I know is they ask about the tuition credit stuff. They talk about medical expenses. Well, you don't know the medical expenses you will incur in April, in May, in June, in July to December. So why do I bother filling all those things? I know that by the time at the end of the year, I can get those questions popped out and I respond. And please, Alexa, people can follow the CRO website. That's the most reliable source I can think of, the most updated source I can think of, and that would help us.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So everybody, I put a link in the chat just to get everyone's data. I know that a lot of us registered initially. We do have your email address. We'll be able to share some resources with you. Deji's phone number, email. Okay, is his phone number there? Okay, yeah. His phone number, his email, his website, everything is on the screen right now. But in case you can't see it, you can also fill the form in the chat. If you fill that form, all the resources and some of the things that were touched on today will be sent to your inbox sometime this week. So if you want to stay in touch, hear more information, be part of our next sessions as well, please try to fill that Google form. And I wanted to say thank you so much to DG again for, indulging us and, giving this 1 hour free of consulting to everyone on the call. I want to thank everyone for joining us as well. I hope that this session was helpful. And I hope that, we stay in touch and stay connected. And for those that don't know about our service at Canada Plug, we do ship from Nigeria to Canada every week and from Canada to Nigeria as well. So you can find out more about us on our website, www.canadaplug.com. Yeah, okay, so they just extended the 30 minutes free consultation to everyone. So please send your email in the form and I'll be able to coordinate with you on like how you can book the timings. And yeah, any other questions before we wrap up the session today? Thank you so much, Deji, for that, because I know that your sessions are paid. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone have any questions before we wrap up the meeting? No questions? There's a lot to learn as a newcomer. Yeah, sure. Of course, that's why we do what we do. Helping people. Of course, there was a time I was also new, and that's why I share resources with people as well. So thank you, Bolaji, for that feedback. You guys, yeah, please let's celebrate Deji in the comments. We're saying thank you, thank you, thank you to him. Okay, Jackpa, please, Jackpa Oyo, please, your question, quick, 2 minutes, please.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure if my question was initially answered, but I asked that if you filed tax before, is it possible that you filed tax and you don't have a CRA account? And how do I create a CRA account? Someone filed my tax for me, a tax consultant, but I don't have access like any account or something. I know the last time we spoke, the person was saying I had to create an account, but I was just a bit confused. I've reached out, I'm here to get response. So I want to know if yes, is it like I just go to like CRA? I think I have it open right here, but I don't know if I should just go to that Canada can
Can you guys, am I audible to you guys? I think his audio is frozen.
His
that's
audio
Yeah,
is not.
I think his question is about opening a Sharia account, please. Yeah, yeah. I think you are the right place. Just Google the open a salary account. It's just a simple step. You fill the form, everything. Once they accept, they will ask you some questions about your last tax that you filed because they have that record just to confirm that it's you. And once you do that, they will tell you that in the next 10 days, business days, they are going to send you a PIN for you to get a full access to your account. So opening a salary account is less than 15 minutes.
Right, Bimbo, can I just quickly ask DG one question?
Thank you.
Sure.
Like I said, I'm new. I started work in a company like maybe a month or two ago, and they gave me some tax forms. And when they gave me those tax forms, I heard DG say something about don't fill everything because when you're going to be filing your taxes, you don't know how much you're going to pay on medicals and everything. I haven't filled in that tax form and haven't submitted it back to the company yet. What do I need to pay attention to on that form before I submit it, considering what DG has just said?
Okay, thank you, Mobalaji. So the thing is, you can fill everything, but the question is, do you have the information? Do you even have the accurate information? And these things are actually repetitive. That form basically is a TD1 form or TD1 Ontario form. It's just allowing the employer to have an estimate of the amount they would expect from your when paying you your income. And don't forget, these are the things that creates also refund or payable to the government that people really don't understand. At the time of filling that form alone, your employer doesn't even know your situation, doesn't know your maybe okay, in that form, they might ask you about the children that you have and everything. They don't know if you're going to have another children in the next 3 months. If you're going to have another child in the next three months, that is going to change your family structure. That is going to change and would impact the benefits you might be entitled to, eligible to get. So filling all those things, in my own experience, opinion, I, I don't think I'm ready to start looking for all those information to start filling. I just look at the first one. The first one will just tell me, okay, what's the basic allowance? Okay, if you end up to $174,000 for federal, okay, put $15,302 there as basic. If you are any above $174,000, maybe put $13,000. That's the only one I always feel. And as I said, from my own experience as the finance person that does all those fillings for the HR guys to know what they would got. Once I see that form like this, and I see that the application I use will just only give me the personal allowance, the first question. And the application will not give me any other thing again. But if I now see someone that has filled every information, I say, oh my God, it's like, oh my God, what is this? Your tax deducted by your employer is just an estimate because they know at the end of the year, you're still going back to the government to come and do a 3.5 tax filing. That's when they're going to do the appropriate calculation of it. And don't forget, the tax here is a progressive system, which means the higher your income, the higher your tax brackets. I
All
don't know if
right.
that clarifies, but you can call me or let me know if you have more questions. Yeah.
Okay, so I would advise everyone to please look in the chat box because if you don't, if you're, am I audible to everyone? Okay, so if you are able to fill the form, you are able to ask as many questions as possible. You have to book a session with DG. Please fill the Google form we have in the chat box. I can see a question that is very, I don't know if we'll be able to dissect it. Somebody said they had filed with somebody last year and then now they are divorced. That would probably be a case by case question. So I would advise that you please fill the form. While I'm doing that, I'm just plugging in Canada Plug. Please follow us on Instagram. You would also find Deji's Instagram as well on our page. So you can ask him as many questions as possible. But I think that it would be best to fill in the form. And that way we are able to email and coordinate on like Deji's calendar and when you can book your session with him to ask as many questions as you want. It's 11 o'clock now and I want to be, respectful of our time. I also have other engagements for the day. And I know Deji probably does as well. So thank you to everyone who has joined in. Please fill in your information so we're able to let you know when next we have like a follow-up session. If you need help with filing your taxes, please also fill that form before you hop off the call. You can copy the link or you can click on the link if you're on your phone or your laptop to fill that form and we're able to send you information on booking the session or answering any questions as well. Thank you, everybody. And I hope you enjoy your weekend. Thank you again. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.